Good morning. Good morning. This is the fitness representative to you today. The first show of the year. This is the Fitness Report radio show. And I have two special guests today. But we want to first say Happy New Year to all of y'all out there. It's been a great decade. A lot of growing, a lot of changes made, a lot of things that really, really happened over the last 10 years. It's 2020, y'all. And that's special because for one, I'm about to be an empty nester. Just to put that out there.
He was
for
ready
one.
for that.
Yes. Couldn't wait for that. For two, there's always something more to do. There's always something to do better, and there's always a way to do it that can change over the years. And over this last 10 years, I can honestly say that a lot of advancements has been made to all that we've done over this last decade or so. Can't believe it's been 10 years since. I can't believe that the teens are over. No more teens. And no one could have told me that it would go this fast, but I'm a firm believer that the time goes as fast as what you're doing during that time. So if you're in school, I don't know that it goes that fast each day that you're actually in the chair in school. I don't think so. It's still an hour-long class. You're still sleepy. You still got a test coming up, and you still kind of don't want to be there. But when you're working, whether you got a small business, whether you run a corporation, or whether you work for somebody else, 100%, it kind of gets into that speed mode and like never stops. So I'm kind of like not believing in time as of late, because it kind of really it don't really mean nothing other than changes your thought process and make you feel a little bit older in the mind. So we got a good show coming up today. A lot of information to pass. We got two great guests that I wanted to pick their brains because these two women, amongst a few others, are really important to me. And we've been rocking, of course, for this last decade and even more. But we just want to focus on these two today and really pick their brains on what's going on and what 2020 is going to look like for them in comparison to the years past and what's been going on before today. So I would like to welcome you to just sit here with me for this little hour and hear me I'm going to ask a few questions, but I'm really going to go into the lifestyle and what the lifestyle is going to present for these two going forward. First, we have health and wellness coach and owner of Total Transformation Solutions, Mrs. Tiffany Holmes. Thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Have the seaman from the U.S. Navy and my daughter, Anitra Partee. Thank you for being here today, Anitra.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you guys. You are watching the Fitness Report radio show brought to you by the Fitness Representative. We are live on Intellectual Radio. The number to call in today is 708-223-8953. So we're going to get right into it. We ain't shouting nobody out. We ain't doing none of that today. We want to know where you guys have been. We want to know what you've been doing. We want to know, once again, who you are. We want to know what you all about. And we're going to take this next hour or so that. Like I said, thank you guys for being here. You two are very special in the scheme of this whole fitness rep thing. You guys have really been near and dear to me and rocking with me the whole time. So to have my first show of 2020, I couldn't do it without you, especially sitting here before you're taking that long trip on the boat.
Right. Yeah.
So, you're here every day. So we could have had you here on another Friday, but we just want to make sure that you're recognized. So we're gonna start with you. We want to know, first off, who's Tiffany Holmes? Let's reintroduce you. It's 2020. That was 10 years ago that you that you on the show. Who's Tiffany Holmes?
Man, Tiffany Holmes is an entrepreneur, a friend, a confidant, a trailblazer, a change agent. I mean, just an all around pretty dope person, if I say so myself.
Mhm.
Right, right. I will agree. I will agree.
Mhm.
And what? First of all, you're the owner of Total Transformation Solutions, and anybody who's watched the show, they know about the work that you've put in. They know about the work that we've done together. They know the history of what's going on. But reintroduce yourself and your business to my audience and let them know what it is that you do.
Okay. So, Total Transformation Solutions was born from my transformation 10 years ago. Gosh, 10 years ago, I think, maybe a little bit more.
No, no.
Anyway, I started to get more serious about my health and really I had a desire to lose weight. Now, how that went over the first part of the decade is questionable, but eventually
But it went though. It went.
it did. And eventually, I lost probably close to like 170 pounds and kept
We'll
it off.
always we'll always disagree on this number though.
But we're gonna talk about the part that I kept off, okay? Not the part that I gained back and had to
Okay,
relose,
okay, okay.
okay?
Right.
But because of that, I realized that people were going about trying to lose weight and to make wellness a priority in the wrong way, or maybe a less than ideal way.
Right.
They would think that they could just hook up with a trainer or just start going to the gym on their own. And they didn't think about the mental and the emotional aspects of wellness and the weight loss process. And that was a huge gap. And even in the goal setting aspects of it. So you and I talked extensively about it. And that's how I got into, because I don't want to do what you do
Right.
and am not qualified to do what you do. But when we talk about mind, body, spirit wellness, then that's really my lane, and helping people to create long lasting behavior change. And so from
Exactly.
that, the business was born.
Nice. And we want to let the audience know that with the business came a lot of hard work and a lot of responsibility to actually keep the weight off, to actually learn more and more about how to affect the people, and not just to lose weight. So when it came to the business, it was more so like, okay, I did it. Not really let me show you how to do it,
Right.
but let me show you that it has to be done,
Right.
which is way more important, because that hits everyone outside of yourself
Mm-hmm.
who's actually doing the work, and it makes other people do the work.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to, as far as today's show, like I said, it's 2020. You recently went on a trip, very important trip. Shout out to Tiffany Holmes. She got me a nice little African. This is leather, y'all. This is paint. It's
Leather
something.
like.
Yes, it's leather like paint. Leather paint. Lane. But what we got here is a trip to the motherland.
Yes.
You actually went to Senegal.
Correct.
So you went to Senegal. First off, we just want to ask you a few questions. First of all, that wasn't your first time going to the motherland, was it?
Yeah. I
We
kind
had a
of,
couple failed
yeah.
attempts in the past.
I mean, yeah.
Right. But that was okay. So what you're saying, that was your first time actually doing what you did this time.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
stepping foot in sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
So what was it like? Just to start, you were in Dakar, right?
Yes,
So what was it like to be in that's the capital city?
yes.
What was it like to be in the capital city of one of the most influential places where we started?
Yeah, it was like coming home. The
Really?
culture is totally different. So there was the language barrier. Everything was different, but it still felt like home.
Mhm.
Right.
The people were welcoming, but there was just something in the air that made it seem like this is where,
Where you belong.
yeah,
Like you did a reverse
yes,
transatlantic mission.
exactly, exactly. And that's what it felt like.
Right.
Because even going to the door of no return and seeing where so many of our ancestors were shipped out from, it was like, gosh, this is full
This is
circle.
it. Yeah.
Coming back there free.
Right. And being able to look in those waters from that dock,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
which is like, that's that dreaded dock that because you've seen those pictures a lot on TV
Yeah.
and the pictures of that door.
Hmm.
So to be at that door, I know that had to be special.
It was very moving.
Why'd you go? Why Senegal?
Actually, I won this trip.
Wow.
And it was part of a trade mission that was put on by the MBDA, the Minority Business Development Agency. And it was a trip that was put together to bring other African American business owners to the continent, specifically
Nice.
to Senegal, to see what business opportunities could be made available both to benefit the people of Senegal and these business owners.
Okay. Wow. Well, that had to be an interesting trip because of the reasoning alone.
Yeah. And I mean, it gave us access to meeting the U.S. ambassador, several of the ministers of agriculture, and other officials from Senegal. So it was kind of a big deal.
Right.
So tell me, while you were there, I want to know, like, what were the major differences between us and them? Because we're all like, just not to cut you off,
Mm-hmm.
but we're all like the same color
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
We're darker and we're
Mhm.
lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any light skinned people?
There were a few. There were a few.
Like
but
light skin?
not, yeah. But
Yeah.
not a lot at all.
Okay.
No.
So basically,
They were like my color.
so what was it like? What was it like to mingle with? Because I've been to Africa, but I've never gone to sub-Saharan Africa.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Horn, but and did Northern, but it got to dark people,
Mm-hmm.
Djibouti and towards what's that, Somalia and Ethiopia. Those it's dark over there too.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think sub-Saharan Western Africa, that's
Right.
us.
Mm-hmm.
That's where quote unquote black people come
Right.
from.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like mingling with what was the start of pretty much black people?
Yeah. It was really interesting because for as much as you see us here now trying to be more like them and embrace our roots and go back to our natural hair and, wearing dashikis and all that other kind of stuff, they want to be like us.
Right.
So it was a lot of bad wigs with straight hair.
You can say it for what it is. Bad wigs, y'all.
They were really into American clothing, and so somehow they get a lot of secondhand clothes, and
This is
so it was almost disheartening to see how they were coming away from their culture and trying to be more Americanized. Wolof is one of their primary languages. However, most of them don't speak it anymore. The national language of the country is French, and they are thirsting to learn English.
Wow.
So it's kind of sad.
Which of course the French probably settled there.
Yes, absolutely.
Killed the region early.
Yes.
Take the language.
Yeah.
And even like the rest of Europe, white and black, they want to learn English.
Yeah.
Or they have some type of English connection as it is. It is kind of sad because when you go to Asia, way over in the Far East, that's who they advertise to. Those bad wigs, they advertise them to Africans. When you walk up to the stores and it's like the entire window, it's not a window that you can see through into the store. It's a window full of advertising of black women, of African women. And most of them always have on bad wigs. I don't know if that's cultural to have it look bad, but that you see that more than anything. So I really do believe that that's something that Americans probably don't have an idea as far as how much we influence them. Because I've seen it in third world countries, but who would have thunk that it was like that at the base of life also?
Yeah, I was super surprised. And, I like to think that I'm pretty intelligent about a lot of things. And so that was surprising to me.
I bet. So what was it like to try to influence them to stay healthy and fit and well?
Well, the good thing is everybody in Senegal works out.
Nice.
Everybody. I mean, you look at the beach because they're right off the ocean,
Right.
but you look at the beach and they have like all this equipment. And a lot of it is stuff that they can do body weight things. But then they have like Muscle Beach in California. So they have something like
Their
that
version.
there. But it's like, I was like, what kind of weights are these? They were like car rotors or something from the
I
wheel.
can see that, yes.
Yes.
Would you get heavy?
Yes. So they were using those.
Wow. They were
on the
using
bar.
like rusty rotors.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And the bar was rusty too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But they work out every day. It was nothing to be going down the street and have people jogging past you, or to see off the highway if they had like steps or something, people jumping up and down the steps.
I saw that in one of your stories.
They work out a lot.
Wow, that's great to know.
Yeah.
Well, just like anything, you see the negative influences and the positive, because they see us working out in that sense, in the new way to stay fit. Because I'm pretty sure 100 years ago, the way they worked out would have been more just running or just carrying groceries and stuff like that. So that's a great influence.
They do a lot of beach workouts too.
Well, yeah, I would imagine.
I mean, and it's crazy.
I would imagine. I could see that going on for the simple fact that we all know how to use the beach in America for good and for recreational and bad use. So I'm pretty sure they do the same thing. And my last question about Africa in particular, when you got to Africa, did you feel like, because this is what we see all the time. Tell me, because I did this when I go to different countries, I look at the country and sometimes when I step foot on the country, I look out, and if you're here, a lot of times you feel like you can see all of this. So it's like you look and it's like, I wonder, does it stop? That's a huge place.
It is. It is. But I feel like the experience was so unique that it almost made you realize just how much bigger the whole continent is. And it made me in particular want to go to all the other parts of it, because it was such a unique experience. I believe that because you would think, a lot of people say, well, did you go to a safari? There is no safari there.
Right.
Like they couldn't imagine being on the ocean.
Right.
All they thought of was the jungle.
Right.
So it just makes you want to see more of the rest of the country.
So it's like a huge stereotype, because every time we think of Africa, we think of safari.
Yeah.
And we think of big animals that are mingling with the people.
Exactly. The only thing that was mingling was some cows and some goats literally walking down the street, and some dogs.
the dogs that run around like they got nowhere to go.
You can see in the country. In the
exactly.
South. Yep.
Right.
Wow. This is the Fitness Report Radio Show. We are live right now on IntellectualRadio.com and Facebook Live. We're talking to Tiffany Holmes and Anitra Partee. The number to call in is 708-223-8953. Once again, Happy New Year to you guys out there. And hopefully you all are feeling good. We are trying to basically get it started off right. Become not new people if we weren't bad in the first place, but better people. You know, it's not everyone's meant to change in a way that changes who they are 100%. You can make a change, but sometimes the change is just people 1%. Sometimes it could be 10%. It doesn't have to be a full change. So that's what we're looking at today. We want to start the year off right. We want to make sure you guys know exactly what it is you need to do in order to get on that track for this next decade. So what I wanted to say before we go any further, we have what's called the TFR tip of the week, or tip of the day. In this case, we have the tip of the decade. So basically what I wanted to do is go into what it is to be successful. And for the TFR tip of, like I said, on this episode, the decade, I want to say something that I preach often to anyone that knows me, and that's that word success. I tell anyone that I know including my loved ones and my friends and even my enemies or whoever you are. Success is success is basically a culmination of life and life and life. And you put those things together, they don't stop until you're done living. Once you're done living, and that's whether you're not able to move anymore, you're bedridden, you're old and you can't do anything but sit there and smile and chew on your gums, or you actually pass away. Either way, when you're done living, that's when you start to assess whether or not you've been successful. There's not one thing that makes you successful, one thing alone that makes you successful. That graduation, that didn't make you successful. That new job didn't make you successful. That new car, that new house, the things that you've attained on this earth during the time that you're on this earth does not make you successful. It's a form of success. It's a step towards success. But you cannot rate success at all until you're done. And to be done is to no longer be living. To be done is to no longer be able to move, to be able to affect the people. It's almost like when you're done playing sports, you are actually done playing the sport when you retire from the sport. Then you can look back on that time that you were playing that sport and say, hey, I was successful at that sport. But what we're trying to do here, myself and the people who I know in general, we're trying to live successful lives. And successful lives are lived and assessed and determined by how you live the entire life, not just the portion in which you were the liveliest, or you made the most money, or you affected the most people, but the portion in which you took the time out and actually lived. They saw what you did. You earned from what you did, and then it was over. So what we wanted to make sure with, as far as the TFR tip of the decade, is that you guys focus on what true success is. True success is to do a good thing or a successful thing or many things over a period of time. And that period of time is called life. So understand that, put put success and how that word plays into what you do on a daily basis, put it in perspective. And when you do that, you'll realize that, hey, even though I was successful at this portion of life, life is still going. So now it's time to be successful at something else. And once that stops, then it's something else you got to be successful at. But in life in general, success comes at the end of it. And that's the TFR tip of the decade, brought to you by the fitness representative. So, guys, one thing we want to go into, since I got you two here, like I said, you guys have both affected me in ways that you'll never know. You'll never ever know. And there's no payment for that. There's no you can't pay back for that. You cannot, there's no monetary amount, there's no emotional amount to kind of like give back what you guys have done for me. When it comes to business, when it comes to life, when it comes to what it is to grow as a person, you two have been a part of that process just as much as anybody else over this last decade, for sure. So we want to thank you for that. And that's why, once again, that's why I had you on the show, because you two ladies are not only some of the most important people, but sorry, not only some of the most important women, but some of the most important people that I know, period. So to have you on my show, to be able to have an outlet where I can give you some type of praise, or as they say these days, give you your flowers. I hate when they say that. Give you your flowers while you still here or whatever. I'm honored to be able to give you your flowers while you still here, and to continue to try to give you your flowers, because that's what it's all about. And even though there's 50 million women's conferences and women's empowerment groups and women's everything to where women can get together, I can honestly say that I'm able to really get you guys with me and tell you how I feel about you versus you going to some stranger who smiles at you for an hour and tells you you can do it,
Yeah.
and you pay them
Right.
$500 to hear that you can do it. So thank you guys once again for coming on the show, and we like to give a shout out to all of the women out there, the men also who are getting it in and trying to be successful at life,
Right.
because that's what we want to do. So moving on, we want to focus on the next topic, which is my oldest or my eldest child. When did who brought out who made up eldest?
Definitely wasn't us.
Who- Why oldest wasn't good enough? Why you got to be the eldest? Eldest, elder, older, oldest. Tell me the difference besides church.
Right.
Anyway.
Right, eldest mean you smart.
Right.
So, in moving forward, what we want to do, we want to pick my daughter's brain because she went over a year ago she joined the Navy and hasn't looked back. Been out the house for over a year. Well, been out the house for almost 3 years,
Like 3, yeah.
including college in Jackson State.
Yeah.
So you're used to it now. Used to come home visiting. Still got space for you. Still got your bed and stuff like that. But it's crazy. But as a parent, you feel complete when your children come home. So for me to know that you're in the Navy, first of all, I know you're in a safe place, at least to me, being in the military also. But I just want to pick your brain over what it's been like over this first year, and how do you feel about moving forward into a new decade into the military?
Hmm. Well, as far as the military goes, I've been on a lot of different underways. I've been out to sea quite a few times in this year, well, this past year, and it's a pretty crazy experience. I wouldn't have ever thought I was going to be actually out on the ocean, on the water, period, because I'm not that good of a swimmer.
Right.
But
Oh,
but it's a really nice experience. Just different things that you see, like just seeing jets flying off the aircraft carrier 24/7, hearing that loud noise every single day, and then just the fact that I'm used to it now. Like
Right.
that's
It's
something that I
nothing.
got used to. Like it's really crazy sometimes. But I mean, I'm ready for the new experiences. I'm about to go on deployment pretty soon, so that's about to be crazy. About to go overseas for the first time, so like it's all just new to me, and I'm ready for it. So
That's great. And I'll say I've before coming to see you and taking the tour, 'cause we actually got to take a tour of the boat. We actually got to see all of the workings and go through all the areas of an aircraft carrier. First off, I would like to thank you, and I'm proud of you for one piece in particular, which is actually knowing all about the ship. We actually took a tour of the ship, and when I tell you that Anitra knew everything about the ship, as if the ship was there from the time she was a baby. Like, we actually got to go in places that, of course, civilians aren't privy to unless you're a parent or maybe a relative. But we actually toured all the way to the depth. We were in the depths of the ship.
Right.
We were there, and to see the aircraft carriers also, and to know that that's a part of what you have to know. That was amazing to see, and to actually go up into the control rooms and stuff like that. That was great, and it gave me an inside look on what I used to always see on the outside, which is that's the stinking Navy,
Right.
and that's it. It stopped right there. So I gained a huge respect for the Navy and just for your knowledge of the ship over such a short time. So it just let me know, because being a parent, you like, man, my daughter be bull crapping.
No, don't
But
do
as
that.
soon as I got on that ship, I'm like, you know what? This is how it goes. When a person either has to learn or wants to and feel motivated to do so, that's when you know how intelligent they are, and that's when all of that comes out. So big ups to Anitra for putting in that work on the ship. And what we want to know, like you just said, you're going on deployment, and you're about to go to places that we haven't gone before.
Never.
We've been around. We've never been to the Far East together.
Right. Yeah.
You're about to go to you're about to hit about between how many ports?
I'm gonna say like 4 to 5.
And where are you going?
I don't know if I can necessarily say. But,
Okay, so basically
it'll be the Asia area and going to
so
Asia.
it's that western it's that western float. It's a western float. So we that's the other thing we know in the military, you don't tell your secrets even though they're not secrets.
Look,
That's just the military.
It's not a secret after we go there.
Right.
I can't tell you before.
So basically, you're going to places you've never gone before. You're going to see people that are from a totally different culture. You ready? You ready for that?
Yeah, I am. It's gonna be a new experiences, but I mean that's what I'm ready and open for. You got to be open for it. So, and that's what I've been wanting to do is travel. So it's giving me the opportunity to do that. So.
And you recently you struck. How do you say it?
So.
No. You got certified for something.
Oh, so like you was saying, as far as me having my knowledge of the ship, it's you gain your enlisted surface warfare pin. So it's basically you know every department within the ship, everything about the ship, all the different type of weaponry and stuff that we have. Like you just know everything. So
right. So
I just got
nice, and that's the part that I could see coming because of the knowledge that I saw you actually passing on to us when we toured. And I actually got to guide the ship for about 10 seconds.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I got to drive the ship.
Yeah, he did pretty good.
Right. But like we didn't run into one of those little boats out there in San Diego. Well, no, we were probably in Mexico at that point.
Yeah.
We were out there. It was great to be on that ship. It was great to see all of the water for one, because that's the stuff that you don't get to see when you're in the ground service, like the Marines or the Army. You don't see the water. No one really sees the water but the Navy and the Marines. Sometimes when we go on the boat with you guys,
a lot of it.
Right. So to say that this year has been different is an understatement.
Yeah, and it's just a really good feeling for me to be able to just share what it is that I do with you guys, because you guys are obviously a big part of me. So letting you guys be able to see what it is that I do on a daily basis whenever I'm not able to talk to you guys for a long period of time, it was a really good feeling. So I had to make sure I knew as much as I could.
Exactly,
so I could let you guys know what's going on.
That was great. That was great. Now tell me, as far as the Navy goes, do you feel that it's something that's going to be ongoing for a long time, or are you kind of playing it like year by year?
I think right now I'm kind of playing it year by year. It is something that has definitely helped me grow and develop, like physically and mentally. I still have other ideas that I want to do as far as like my career and stuff, but I'm still like right now I'm just trying to see how everything moves,
How do you like California, or would you rather be somewhere else?
I love California, and that's why I'm kind of scared a little bit, because I know once I actually strike my specific rate, they might send me somewhere else. If they send me overseas, I'd much rather that than going somewhere like Virginia or Washington or something. But I love California, and that's where I wanted to go anyway when I first got in. So to have that as a first duty station was pretty.
That was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And just to let you guys know, I think you haven't been on the show since I came out there for my birthday, right?
No, since I graduated boot camp, before I left, I think.
Right, which is before I came out there. So basically, I went out for my birthday to hang out for a couple of days and see Anitra, and it was so ironic because you know how you go on Hotwire to get your hotels and stuff like that. I went on Hotwire to get a hotel at the last minute, and it just so happened to be the Hilton right at the end of everything, the end of basically what downtown San Diego is, because after that you got the Coronado Bridge and then that's it.
Right.
But when I got there early, and when I got there, they had of course they don't have your room ready because it's early. So they gave me a handicap room.
Mm.
But the handicap room just so happened to be facing your ship and my boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
all out my window.
Mm.
So of course I got a camera on me at all times. I must have taken 1,000 pictures of that one scene trying to get everything in line.
Right.
And that picture is up at home now. Is on the wall now because I can actually lay down in my bed just because it was the handicap, because it was the perfect floor. I think it was like the 10th or 15th
Yeah.
floor, something like that. But it was just high enough to be able to see where my it was crazy because that's where my fitness career started with the conference in 2008 at the San Diego Convention Center, 08 or '09. Your ship in the background, boot camp for me in the background, all within one picture.
Right.
So I had to put that up, had to blow that one up for the wall at home. But the other thing we wanted to get into, once again, guys, this is the Fitness Support Radio Show brought to you by the Fitness Representative. Call in if you're interested. The number is 708-223-8953. We are live right now on IntellectualRadio.com. What we want to go into now is, of course, you're an athlete. You grew up as an athlete.
Oh, me?
Like,
You too.
Not at all.
You're an athlete. You can move. We tell him all the time. If you can move front, back, side to side at different angles and move your body, you're an athlete.
Mhm.
You're not a professional athlete. You're not a professional. You're not a semi-professional athlete, but you're an athlete in the sense of the word.
Okay.
So seeing that we have two athletes here, you told me recently that you were back playing sports, like back playing basketball.
Yes, I was. Hmm.
How you feel about that?
Um, it was nice. It kind of just brought me back to my high school days because I did miss it. It wasn't necessarily like my favorite sport, but I played it really since like what
Intense.
7th grade up until now. So it was really nice to get back in there and actually shoot the ball, give a couple shots up, play with the team. Even though our team it's not like an action, yeah. But it was definitely nice to get back into though.
Right. And did you feel the competitive side coming back?
For sure. Like the competitive is never going away. That's
Right.
like it's there. But I mean, we had it was like the city that was involved instead of like the actual military.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was pretty different in that sense, but at the same time it was nice. It was nice to get back into.
So if you're thinking about giving out some advice to those who might want to join, what advice would you give someone if they told you right now? Because one of your best friends been telling me at least.
Yeah, she told me.
Where's the recruiter? Where is he? Get me in there. What would you tell someone like even your best friend or someone that you don't know about your experience in the military thus far?
Honestly, I feel like every time I tell somebody about this is just make sure you know what you want to do, know what you're signing up for, because at the end of the day, like it's the military and we got to go out for long periods of time, and like you're not going to be able to see family or friends for that long. So that's something that like you really have to be mentally strong, like you really do. So just make sure it's something that you want to do. Um, Even me, like being in the military, I didn't know exactly what job I wanted. So I'm still undesignated right now, but I'm going to be picking a job pretty soon. So it's not like you have to go in there knowing exactly what you want to do, but at least know that you do want to join and what you're trying to join for.
Exactly.
So
I'm pretty sure that helps. And another thing, which is gonna be the case for forever, when you get in there, and you understand that whole stereotype of being controlled the entire time is not the case.
right, it's really not like it's really like a regular job. It's just you got to wear a uniform every single day, and then you got long periods of time where you're at work. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Which is the case even more so a lot of times when you're not in the military.
yeah,
Because you work for a corporation, especially in industry, like industry type work
yeah.
or industrial type work, you're working that you got no choice but to work 12 hours,
Hmm.
13 days, come home and get ready. And you still have a uniform, and you feel like you're locked up. You probably feel like you're in something tougher than the military at that
Right,
point.
right.
So that's something that I always try to put out there because a component. I'm not a huge component as far as people going in or not going in. I'm a huge component for those who want to get ahead. So if that's your lane, because I always go back to historically, it wasn't college that got us ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It was the force. It was some force, and it turned into what was the military and industrial work. So we haven't ever gotten rich off of this big advertisement of what they gave us as far as school.
It's a lot of debt.
I was about to say,
Lots
Mhm.
we
lots of
can't get
debt.
Lot
rich
of
because we got to
debts.
pay these
You got
loans
to pay it
back.
back.
Right. Right.
So we could be that part of successful. When you graduate, that's a beautiful thing. But I think people got caught up in the shuffle of what it was to be like mainstream America when it came to that cap and gown.
Hmm.
And I don't know, like a lot of people didn't know what to do after that. So it's always an alternative, just like school's an alternative. Just got to be success. You just got to try to be successful at that part
Hmm.
of life. And what we're gonna go into, we're gonna go into our last segment, which is I'm gonna get you guys' view on a couple of things because, like I said, it's a new decade. It's it's I don't know if you're gonna be a new person. We are who we are. All we can do is add things to what's been going on already. All we can do is try to make things better in some way, do more of something, or bring, like we talked about, bring the quality of something way up past the standard. So, Miss Tiffany Holmes, I wanna get your view on this first. It's 2020 now. You've been in business for a decade. You've been having the thought process on what it is to be well and to get better and to stay there and go even higher in 2020 and beyond, because since it's the end of the decade, we're looking at a new decade.
Hmm.
I want to get your view on what it is you're going to do because we're going to, it's basically like a two-part question for you guys. And the first one is, what are you going to do to be better in this new decade?
I think I'm going to do more of the same. I spent the last decade getting these healthy habits developed. Um, and then once they were developed, applying them to every aspect of life. Now that I've got that part, I need to do that consistently. And once the consistency is there, then the elevation comes from that and the expansion from that. So I want to do business better now that I've gotten it under my belt and I know what I'm doing there. I want to do fitness better. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to still knock out those 50 push ups and all those other things. So it's about doing better by doing more of the same.
Exactly. And what about yourself? What do you feel you want to do in 2020 and beyond?
Um, Honestly, I feel like the same thing she was saying, just being consistent with whatever it is that I'm doing, um, and really just opening my eyes to learning everything that I can, just learning new things,
Just
like
knowledge in general.
knowledge in general.
That's good.
Right.
Okay. And I'll echo those two because we had a talk and we were talking about not really changing things as much as we do a better version of what we've been doing
Right.
and how to better the quality of what we're doing already. Because not everybody's doing bad stuff.
Right.
A lot of times we talk about resolutions, which I'm just not a resolution person. But when we talk about resolutions and what it is to move forward, we always talk about changing everything.
Mhm.
But sometimes things are okay.
Hmm.
And you just tweak the things that you need to tweak, but to change it sometimes might not be so good.
Right.
But to better it and to be more qualified to do it and to learn more, that's always good,
Right.
no matter what we do. So that's great to hear you guys say that, because that's what we need going forward in this world. And the next part, the next question that I want to get your views on going forward is, when it comes to people who are in line with what you want to do and how you think and how you feel about life, whether it's from a business aspect or just in general, how do you feel you need to filter them out and bring new people in? Do you have a process for that going forward, or is that kind of like the same thing also?
For me, I think it's selective. And so I think I might be one of the last extroverts on the earth. So I'm open to people all the time, right? So anybody can come in. Now, how close they get after that is where the selection process comes in, right? Because you can have a lot of things in common with people and they still not be your people. So for me, in business, in personal, in every aspect, I'm checking the heart, right?
Mhm.
Because you've got to have a heart for me, the things that I believe in, the things that I'm trying to accomplish, to make sure that that synergy is right.
Right.
Because otherwise, then you just have to be on the perimeter.
Okay.
Right.
So basically what you're saying is, you're just going to give the person a chance to show you, and
You
then
have
you're going to
to.
base it off what they showed you.
You have to.
That's fair. That has to be that way. And what do
Mhm.
you think, Anitra?
As far as I go, it's still a learning process for me. I've definitely had a decent amount of people come into my life because I was a little bit too open and like inviting and stuff. So in those situations, it didn't turn out too well, but it's definitely a learning process. Just making sure you're selective and just trying to protect your energy and your heart from people who should not be there in
Hmm.
general. So,
That
mhm.
and that's the way to look at it, because it's, I say one thing. It's hard to change who you. Well, it's easy to change who you are when you deal with other people. But one thing that you shouldn't do, which we do a lot of, we try to change who we are based off how they dealt with us instead. You should change who you are based off how you deal with them. And that's going to either bring out who they are in a good way or a bad way. But what it allows you to do is not have to change who you are based off an outside source as much
Hmm.
as you do it because of what you need to do. So if someone hurts me or helps me, it's something that I internalize, whether it's positive or negative. I internalized it as something,
Mhm.
which was the power that I had. And that's the only thing I can do. So with each relationship, whether it's business or personal, you got to know to go into it with who you are, and don't let what someone outside of you did change who you are, which is basically giving what you're saying, letting everyone in. So we wanted to let you guys know that it was a wonderful show. Thank you guys for being here, and I would really love to do it again soon. We want to thank Anitra for being here. It's time to go, and you got some stuff
Unfortunately.
coming up. Miss Tiffany Holmes, good to see you once again, and we'll be doing big business this year for sure, guaranteed. So, for the people out there watching, Happy New Year. It is 2020, and this has been the Fitness Report radio show, brought to you by the Fitness Representative, representing fitness for life. Let's go.
Yeah.
Guys, great, 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 great. Let's do it.
Ah, yeah, that's good. Mhm.